Hey everybody, welcome back to a new Severe Weather Center video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about today's current severe weather, a massive heat wave that has been torturing the eastern United States, and some stuff about the tropics and some chances for tropical storm development over the next 7 days. Starting off strong, we're going to talk about today's severe weather. We have a pretty large slight risk of severe weather over in the Rocky Northwest and Rocky Mountain regions, extending into the Midwest into portions of northern Iowa and extreme southern Minnesota. These threats do include tornadoes, damaging winds, and some large hail, mainly back up in the northwest side of the United States. Over and by the Greater Lakes, we have a marginal risk for some slight storm development that could develop in portions of the Great Lakes, Michigan, Northeast Ohio, West PA, Central PA, parts of upstate New York, and the Northeast. Let's get into the heat wave, is what I've been wanting to talk about. Let's take a look at the the HRRR 3 kilometer. And if we take a look at the current temperatures, this is current. You can see just how strong in this area, how high these temperatures are. Easily into the mid-90s to 100 in some 100-degree range in some areas. Not many places to escape the heat. Maybe somewhere up here in the North Midwest to Rocky Mountains. Definitely don't want to come over here where it's 120 in parts of Arizona and extreme Southern California. But this is what we've been dealing with for the past couple of days. There's heat warnings in PA. There's a heat watch all over the Northeast up here. I can't get a graphic pulled up, but if you take a look at your local weather service, you'll see that if you're in the Northeast. But these temperatures are just getting ridiculously hot, which is pretty uncommon for it being so early in June. It's only June 21st, which is uncommon to see these temperatures this high. But that's not all. The dew points are also extremely high up as well. So if we head over to the dew points, the reds indicate dew points in almost 70s, 80s. The yellow indicates 60s, and the blue indicates 50s. Most of this area, up here kind of, is where the highest colors are. Especially over here, are in the dew points in the upper 80s, which makes being outside even more extremely hot and just uncomfortable. And it's dangerous. Some people can have heat strokes. It's very dangerous to be out in these temperatures for long periods of time. Make sure you're staying hydrated, putting on sunscreen, getting cool, staying cool, and not putting yourself in a dangerous situation where you could be have a heat stroke or get significantly injured or have health risks with this heat that's happening. And let's take a look at the rain and precipitation. If we take a look at the supercell composite for tornadoes, you can see this has not updated, but you can see any storms that form along this red line will have a chance for an isolated tornado or two, also extending back up here. But the greatest threat will be further down, right in here for any storms that can form. So now let's take a look at the long range to see if we're gonna get any sort of cool down here in the near future. So we come to temperatures. Start with the temperatures here. So here are today's temperatures. Pay attention to this general area. That's where the heat wave has been. The storm that's been causing this has broken many records in multiple states for temperatures. This storm's broken many records so far. So if we continue to push this ahead here, You see temperatures get extremely hot here. I mean, nightfall's only going down to the 70s. Your daytime, you can see, again, this graphic shows most of the United States being extremely elevated in heat. I mean, just seeing these temperatures is like, you don't ever want to see this, because this is dangerous to be outside in this. So you can push this even further. The only kind of cooldown that's being given, and it's not much, is right up in here. You'll see a kind of a cold front push through here. So if we run this ahead further, you can see that cold front kind of swoop through right there. And we'll take a look at the radar here in a second, but that's the only kind of cooldown. And that's happening in northern Michigan and parts of Wisconsin, near the Great Lakes. And Northeast will get in on some of that, especially over here. Especially over there, the Northeast will get in on some of that as well. But it won't. But look at Michigan; it's heating. It heats right back up. If we push this even further, a cold blast tries to form up here in Canada, and it looks like it tries to swing down, like a swinging arm. And it will get to the Greater Lakes and eventually bring some relief up here in extreme northern Wisconsin and the Greater Lakes. But that also will eventually reach Michigan as well. And it'll also impact the Northeast greatly at nights too. You can see most of the Northeast is extremely cooled down. They're given a break, but the Midwest is just burning hot basically this entire time. It is just on fire, burning. No signs of relief much at all. But then we finally get a cold front here, it looks like, that begins forming right along here. And that'll bring much needed relief. Long-term wise. Much needed relief. You can see that really kind of very drawn out line right here. For the Northeast here. Much needed relief. It'll bring much needed relief to most areas. Let's quickly take a look at the precipitation. So if we go ahead and push this out, we have today's threat right here. That will move up and out quickly. But take a look at the tropics, especially down here and right over here. I'll put those in blue here. Pay attention to here and over here. So if we run this ahead, you'll see you will see it, it really calms down in terms of precipitation wise in the basically all of the United States. Some more systems do try to form. Here's that cooldown right here I was talking about. We'll do a better in-depth look at the tropics here in a second. But here's that cooldown from Michigan and the Greater Lakes. And that'll bring some rain here up. It'll bring some rain into the Northeast. Right over here with this low pressure system that hopefully stays formed. They'll bring some rain over there, which will give a brief relief of the heat, but it'll come right back. But it gets pretty active, which hopefully will try to keep the temperatures controlled in that amount of time. You can see these constant storms that keep forming after another, which would be good to keep the heat kind of down, but also can be bad for any severe weather outbreaks that form off of these storms here in the coming weeks, especially right here. Like right here. Anything that forms off of the intense heat can become pretty strong with the moisture, so much moisture being in the atmosphere, but it will stay pretty rainy and pretty active. So this storm will continue to break many records regarding temperatures. Now, storms and precipitation, we're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. Not much to talk about the tropics. There's 2 areas of chance of development. One down here, and you can see it even forms a low pressure signal right there. It's a 105. Wish I could zoom down there. But you just take a look at this low pressure system right down here through L05. It's going to be hard to see. Just take a look at that. And it does, there's also another chance of a development there, but the GFS has not acknowledged that. However, the National Hurricane Center has. So if we go ahead and push this along, you'll see a hurricane does try to form, and after the one tropical depression that battered Texas a couple days ago, that could also elevate some chances for flooding, but it looks to stay pretty much in Mexico. So flooding won't be a big concern down there. However, the storm that's going to try to form off Florida could become something that could cause some flooding along the Florida and Carolina coastline in the near future. But after these 2 storms, it looks like it calms down a lot, at least in the meantime. At least in the meantime. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. This is Severe Weather Center, and I will see everybody in the next video.